Peace Queen. It's Melissa Crawford of thequeencode.com. And the message today is actually the first video in a new series that I'm doing. And if you've been following my videos for a while, you know that every now and again I'll do a video series like the Character of a Queen series, or the Sankofa series, or the Queen Prophecy series from 2013 and 2014. Well, the series that I'm starting today is something that is extremely relevant to where we're going, and it's extremely relevant for where we are right now. And it's something that it really is near and dear to my heart. And so in this series, I'm going to be going a little deeper than I've ever gone before. And by the way, the name of this series is Queen Ascension. Queen Ascension. So in other words, Queen's Rising. And you know, if you did hear the Queen Prophecy videos, or even the Reign as Queen in 2014 audio that I did in January, you know, I talked about where we've been as far as in the past in our stages of development. And then I also talked about where we are presently and where we're going. And 2014 is such a powerful year because it's really important that we really align ourselves. Remember, I talked about 2014 being the year of great intention. It's really important that we align ourselves because we are rising and we are being called to go higher. And so in this Queen Ascension video series, I want to share with you some of the things that you may be going through, but maybe you don't understand. I want to give some clarity in between where you were and where you're going, and how to make that transition peacefully, okay? And so, you know, I think it's really good to start with really defining dimensions. You know, we hear that word all the time, or maybe you even use it. You know, I'm going to a different dimension, or, you know, the next dimension or the next level. But dimensions are real. Dimensions to me are like worlds. You know, you can be in a particular dimension, and you can be sitting beside someone in a different dimension, and you feel like your world's apart. Have you ever felt that way? You know, a lot of queens that I speak with, you know, they're like, Melissa, I feel so different. You know, I feel so different from, you know, everyone around me, or, you know, I feel like an outcast, or, you know, you just feel like even though you're physically close to someone, you're very, very far away. And that's because you may be in a different dimension, or you may be in a different vibration. And so I want to start out talking about dimensions, because that's a part of what's going on right now in this uprising, this great awakening for all of us, is we're moving to different levels and different dimensions, okay? So when I talk about dimensions, it's exactly how I talk about the queen. You know, it's all about a state of consciousness. It's a state of awareness. It's a way of being. It's not necessarily a physical place you can go to. It's more so an inner thing, right? The queen is not necessarily a person that you can point to. It's the state of awareness. It's the state of consciousness of a woman, all right? So talking about dimensions right now on this planet, we are currently in the third dimension. Now, the third dimension is really characterized as, it's kind of like that solar plexus, that power energy, that go-getter energy, that individualistic energy, the energy to go forth, to achieve goals, to do. And in terms of being in the third dimension as a planet, we've been here for about 2,000, 3,000 years, depending on how you look at history. So we've been in this space, in this energy of conquering and charting new territory and being individualistic, you know, personal power, and, you know, really going forth in a very powerful way. And as a result of that, we've seen great inventions, great innovations. You know, of course, we've, you know, as human beings, conquered lands and territories and all of that. And so, you know, you see the great technology that's come out of this dimension. But there's also a downside to this dimension as well. Because it's so individualistic, we've become very separated from source. And even if, you may practice a particular religion, for many of us, in the past, we've still felt very separated from God. We felt very separated from the divine. And so even though we've achieved a lot in this third dimension energy, it's also brought us to the edge of destruction, because it's also, with it have come wars and all types of conflict and strife. And so along with the third dimension, you have fear. The third dimension is really a space that's gripped by fear, a space that's gripped by limitation and lack. And so when you really begin to look at the third dimension in its entirety, it's really like hell on earth. And so that's where we currently are and where we've been. But right now as a planet, we are up leveling to something different, to the fourth dimension. Now the fourth dimension is more about heart. And even if you don't, understand third dimension, fourth dimension and things like that, you can still feel the fourth dimension energy coming on this planet. And what it looks like is all of a sudden people are starting to wonder more, why am I here? What am I meant to do? Instead of that normal rat race, we're wanting fulfillment and freedom and expansion, and people are returning to love. Instead of being so individualistic, we're starting to understand the power now in connecting and in joining forces. And there's so much about the fourth dimension. There's abundance and grace and flow and ease. Third dimension, it was all about hard work. Fourth dimension is all about heart work. Third dimension is very masculine in nature. Fourth dimension is very feminine. And so it's interesting because even though I talked about the third dimension being hell on earth, like I said, we've achieved some things there. And so it's not that we're supposed to totally do away with the great things that we've gotten from the third dimension. We're supposed to integrate the masculine with the feminine, right? So in this fourth dimension energy, that's the reason why you see so many women rising up, because we embody the feminine naturally more so. And so you see a lot of queens taking their throne again. So we are really living in a particular time and space where a lot of people that saw this coming prophetically 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 1,000 years ago, like they would love to be here right now. But we are really living in a great time because we're going from the consciousness of hell on earth to the consciousness of heaven on earth. The fourth dimension is so expansive. It's that place where we're starting to come into the realization that all things truly are possible. And we're living our dreams while awake. So in this Queen Ascension series, I want to share with you the distinction between the third dimension queen and the fourth dimension queen. And so for sake of this series, I'm going to refer to her as 3D and 4D, okay? So the reason why I'm doing this is not to shame. It's not to say that, oh, well, you're better than if you, but it's to give you clear distinctions so you can make a choice. Are you going to choose to continue to be the 3D queen or have 3D queen behavior? Or are you going to up level to 4D queen? Okay. And so, I understand that as I'm saying this message is for everyone, but not everyone will resonate with it or be ready at this time to transcend. Not everyone is ready to go right now. I actually call this the royal rapture. You know how people talk about the rapture and, people being caught up in the sky. I look at things not necessarily from like a literal point of view. Some things are just, energetic in nature. And I call this the royal rapture because literally, when you begin to align yourself to to who you're truly called to be, and you get to that point of elevation, it's literally like being caught up. It's literally like going to that heavenly place, but you're still here on earth. It's literally like, being beside a 3D person, a 4D person. It's like worlds apart. And so I call it the royal rapture, and not all of us will choose to go. But if you are ready for that ascension and that elevation, then this video series is for you, okay? So here's the first point. And I'm going to do about 20 different videos, 18 to 20 different videos. So like I said, we're going to go deep with this. We're going to stay here for a while because this is perfect. This is a perfect message for the year of great intention, because there's some of you that are watching this video, if not all of you, you may be kind of like this. And all it's going to take is just a little tweak for you to activate and find your throne and reign as queen, okay? So here we go. 3D queen versus 4D queen. Here's the first point. A 3D queen is the woman that has a desire to live her dreams. She has a desire to know her purpose and why she's here, but she's not necessarily committed. She's interested, but she's not necessarily committed. She sees her dreams and living her dreams and knowing her purpose as an option. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. And so in that vein, she always feels stuck. She always feels like she's blocked, or like she can't quite break through, because she really hasn't committed to the process. That's the 3D queen, okay? The 4D queen, in contrast, is a woman that has an insatiable desire not only to live her dreams, but to know why she's here. She doesn't think that there's anything besides, of course, if you're a wife or a mother and you have your responsibilities, that's really important. But in terms of her development, nothing else is more important than understanding why she is here. She doesn't see any distinction between her dreams and reality. For her, it's something that just hasn't happened yet, but she's committed to the path of bringing that into fruition. She has an insatiable desire to the point where she's turning over rocks. She is being proactive, getting the help that she needs to uncover who she really is. She's also the woman that cannot conceive of never living her dreams. She cannot imagine not knowing why she's here. That's the reason why she's on fire, to understand her purpose. And once she understands her purpose, she's on fire to walk in it and to thrive in it, okay? So she has a no excuses approach to understanding who she is and why she's here. That's her main thing, okay? And I can tell you a quick story. Back in 2009, 5 years ago now, when I was really up leveling in consciousness and just got to the point where I'm like, okay, this has got to be, why I'm here, what my purpose is, has got to be at the forefront of my life. I was hurting, I was in pain, I was depressed to the point where the doctor wanted to prescribe some depression medication, but to me, I felt like that was as far as I was going to go. I knew that it was time for me to make some changes. And make some changes I did. I began to just really, I was looking frantically, everything that crossed my path, because it's true that when you're looking for something, it's also looking for you. And so when opportunities would cross my path, I didn't make excuses about why I couldn't do them or take them. If it was something that I knew was going to lead me deeper into purpose, it was a no-brainer for me to do it. And it didn't matter what it would take, within reason and integrity. I would rise to the occasion to make it happen. It's just like when I hired my first mentor. My first mentor, her program was just $9.97. Well, guess what? I didn't have $9.97. I had basically $0 in my bank account, and all I had was some change, in my piggy bank. And I was so on fire because I understood that I was given a resource, within this woman. I was so on fire that I actually made a bold move, took $10 from my bank account, got in my car, drove across town, put that $10 in the bank, came back home almost on E, went upstairs and signed up for a program that I knew would change my life, and change my life it did. And so the 3D queen is the woman that constantly makes excuses as to why she can't do this or can't partake of that. And the 4D queen is a woman that doesn't believe in excuses. She only believes in solutions. It's not if I can do this, it's I'm gonna make it happen and let me figure out how. Okay? So that's just one clear distinction. There's no way that you can thrive and be queen without knowing your purpose, without knowing why you're here. A queen on her throne is a woman that's very deeply rooted in her purpose. And that is the reason why she lives her dreams. So in this year, if you don't know your purpose, it needs to become the forefront. It needs to be at the forefront of your personal development. And that's something that I actually help queens with, that I've done for years helping queens with, because having decoded my own purpose, I know how to help other queens find their purpose. And so if you're that queen that you're like, I don't know my purpose, I want to elevate to 4D, or I'm at the cusp of 4D, but I need to understand why I'm here. If that's you, then I encourage you to reach out to me and get what I call your Royal Path Map. And the Royal Path Map is actually a process that I came up with, like I said, from decoding my own purpose, where I can share with you not only what your purpose is, but what's blocking you energetically from the abundance that you want, what's blocking you from your creativity, what's blocking you from seeing immediate change in your life. And the best thing about the Royal Path Map, not only do I look at the inner part, the feminine part, right? The spiritual part, but I'm also looking at and sharing with you the 7 clear steps to take to go from where you are back to your throne. That's the external. See, like I said with the 3rd dimension and the 4th dimension, it's about integration. You need the inner plus the outer in order to manifest powerfully. So in this Royal Path Map, I'm sharing with you the inner, what your purpose is, where you're blocked, how you can energetically align yourself, but then also the outer, what to do. What's step 1? What's step 2? What's the next step? All of that. And all you simply have to do to start the process of your Royal Path Map is email me at support@thequeencode, COD like David, E.com. support@thequeencode.com. And I'll tell you, I'm looking for the queen who is at the point where she has no excuses, because of course there is an investment involved, but at the same time, it pales in comparison to knowing your purpose finally and operating in that powerfully. So, if you're ready to step it up and live in 4D queen land completely, you gotta know your purpose. And if you don't, then that's what I can help you with. Just simply email me at support@thequeencode.com. So this is part 1. It's a longer video, but I wanted to really do some background and explain to you where we're going. So in all the other parts, I'm going to do 3D versus 4D queen. Therefore, you have a choice. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to live? Okay? So this is part 1. Part 2 is coming next week. And in the meantime, if you want to get that Royal Path Map, or if you want to even go deeper than that and look at unlocking your Queen Code, just go to support@thequeencode.com, and I'll talk to you soon.